Hello everyone, this is Evelina Fielgroliv here. Welcome to my channel, welcome to another episode on mental health for beginners. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about what mental health actually is. This episode is an invitation for you to start thinking about your mental health in a slightly different way. What seems to be the case is that there's a lot of talk about mental health issues, mental health problems, mental health being deficient. People are being told what is wrong with them. People are being labelled in various ways. So people are being diagnosed in a lot of different ways. So in today's episode, I want to talk to you about what is right with you, right? What actually your nervous system is capable of, because it's very easy to get diagnosed with something today, and it's also very easy to start over identifying with it and sort of having your identity driven by it. It's very tempting, it's very easy. Actually, in today's world, when you say, oh, I'm fine, I'm great, everything is fine, you actually not in the majority anymore. So when you think about your mental health, and you know that your mental health determines your whole experience, existence, as in the absence of mental health, all you do is survive, right? You're not functioning fully, you're not fully yourself, you can't really think clearly, you can't really be yourself. So as I said, I invite you to think about your mental health differently, and in this episode you're going to learn about something what I call a green state, where this is a state of the nervous system, a third state of the nervous system. There are only 3 states of the nervous system. As I said, there's a lot of talk about anxiety and depression and ADHD and this, that or the other, neurodivergence, right? But no one is talking about actually what nervous system is capable of. So I invite you to listen to this episode and tell me what you think. That would be great. I want you to know about the green state, because it's one of the most amazing things that one can achieve in life, because the green state is a parasympathetic response of the nervous system in which you can be relaxed, safe and social. It's called rest, digest, regenerate, where the stress hormones are not present, where your body can be relaxed, where you can be yourself, where you can laugh, where you have access to your higher self, to your relaxed self, right? And I wonder why no one is talking about this. And it's not achieved by doing a retreat, by consuming a certain thing, by meditating for hours a day. No, this state is present in your life as we speak at this very moment. It's just that we are not taught that it is there and it needs to be achieved, protected and sustained. So, you can Google depression, anxiety, and you can Google treatments and whatever. Sadly, you don't know these things exist. You think that, the absence of mental health became a norm, and everyone is told, no, everyone has anxiety and depression. Everyone is, oh, that's normal. Oh, well, actually, I don't think that's very helpful, right? And we stopped asking the question, why is everyone suffering? Why is that? So we're going to be answering some crucial questions when it comes to mental health. So I've introduced the green state a little bit. And as I said, it's there. It's there. It's in you. You have it. You have it. We're born with it, right? And obviously it gets developed. Nervous system gets stronger and stronger as we grow up. And a lot of children are in this state. So you can observe this state in children. If you don't have any friends who are relaxed, calm and collected, because I think this is a rarity now. Unless people isolate themselves, it cannot be achieved. But I think that's not true. right? Because your nervous system is your operational system and you are the doorkeeper to that. So it's not concerned with going anywhere, it's concerned with your immediate environment. And there's a lot you can do in order for your mental health to get better or for your mental health issues to get resolved as we speak, like on an everyday basis. It's just that what is being affirmed is the sort of the social and collective narrative is disempowering. It's like there's no other choice. We can't do anything about it. I've always been this way. This is what my mother used to be like. It runs in the family. It's genetics. I don't think that's very helpful. And it's not true. It's not the whole truth, right? Because if you take the power away from yourself and you think, right, there's nothing I can do. But what are we doing here? You are an autonomous individual and you have the power to actually take control over your inner experience, because this is what we're talking about here. We are talking about the inner experience. We are talking about your inner world. Again, that's not what we're learning. We're learning that's the only way to be. If you're not stressed, there's something wrong with you. That's not true. And mental health, by the way, is not about the absence of problem. It's the attitude towards those problems. Because actually being in the green state, just as being in the anxiety state or depressive state, is all-encompassing, right? And you get hijacked by stress and anxiety or depression when you sort of shut off from the world and you hide. That's the survival state. But in the green state, you can still have all the problems that you have, but your attitude towards them will be completely different. So this is where we need to be careful, because what seems to be happening is that people start to over-identify with their diagnosis. I am bipolar, I am anxious, I am depressed, right? So we started internalizing those experiences, and I'm not saying that they're not sort of all-encompassing and they're not difficult, they're very difficult, but we need to start asking the question, why are we depressed or why are we anxious? I'm not going to go into details about that, but I want you to know that there is a state in your nervous system where you're not anxious, you're not depressed, and this is a green state, rest, digest, or regenerate when you're safe and social. And your nervous system has needs that if you meet them, your mental health will improve dramatically. It's just that, again, no one connects the dots anymore for some reason. And we are not taught this way, right? So first of all, we are being told the phrase mental health. Mental health is not mental. It's a physiological experience of the body. If that wasn't the case, why do people who are experiencing panic attacks end up in emergency services thinking that they have a heart attack, right? So mental health is an extension of your physiology. Your psychology is an extension of your physiology, for good and for bad. So when it comes to the green state, where your nervous system can actually access the state of being calm, collected, comfortable with what's going on, you're present in your mind, there is a lot of space. It's very spacious in that state. So you can think about your future, you can plan your life, you can laugh, you can access joy. All right, so this is where your nervous system is not under threat, is not stressed. And yes, people do achieve this state on holiday, very often after a long period of rest. But, you know, we cannot think that this is only achievable when you go on holiday. We cannot do that to ourselves. We need to learn and cultivate the green state in everyday life. So then it's sustainable, because You need the stronger version of yourself. You need the calm version of yourself. You need the connected and collected and relaxed version of yourself to be able to be productive, being the father you want to be, being the mother you want to be, being a friend you want to be, being a partner you want to be. You need yourself. So the first plea here is for you to start just the same way as you are committed to working for your boss or being there for someone. You need to be committed to be there for yourself, because in today's world it's actually impossible. There's no protection against being hijacked by stress. There's no protection. Your only protection is your self-awareness and consciousness, to being aware what's going on and choosing the response. When you in one of the survival states, you cannot be conscious and you cannot be self-aware, because the cortisol, adrenaline and amygdala in your brain will not allow you to. Because when you under threat, when you're not safe, when your body is not safe, your perception changes, everything changes, how you interact with the world. So then you cannot be your fuller self, and then you act out your survival identity. So that's your mental health. That's the absence of mental health. But mental health can happen in the green state. The green state can be achieved when the needs of your nervous system are met, right? So it cannot happen when you are deficient in sleep, deficient in rest, sick, so you fighting off some kind of infection, or you're in pain. That's not achievable, because when things are like that, then your body goes into survival and you're being reduced to your survival identity. It's very difficult to make good choices for yourself. It's very difficult to be autonomous individual you are when you in survival state. So the green state, you need to be thinking, what are you doing to yourself, or what you allowing to be done to you, that your nervous system cannot access, rest, digest, regenerate, when actually everything you're learning, everything you're experiencing, it gets wired into your nervous system. So that's why sleep is so important. And, you know, people think, oh, it doesn't matter, I just slept 5 hours, or, you know, but again, you need to learn what you need. Some people can function on 5 hours, some people cannot function on it. So when it comes to achieving your green state, it's all about you knowing what your nervous system needs, because how I achieve my green state is going to be completely different to how you achieve your green state, right? And it really depends on the context of where you are, who you are, where you are in life, where you are in self-development. So how much time you've actually spent working on yourself, how self-aware you are. So, you know, whether you're exercising, whether you're not exercising, because the green state sometimes is very simple, right? So sometimes it's just tweaking few things, right? Having a proper bedtime routine, having a proper morning routine. Sometimes it's not about having a routine. You know, there are people who absolutely tyrannize themselves with to-do lists, performing certain tasks, some jobs or some goals that they sound good, but they're not for them, and they're stressing themselves out. So for this kind of person would be to have a bit of a decompression time from all of this, right? So you need to find a balance in be stimulating yourself with learning, knowledge, or doing, as opposed to having a decompression time. So you need to be able to think, right, what do I actually need? And you need to do it daily. You need to do it daily. The same way you are committed to work for someone or do stuff for your children or for your family on a daily basis, and your day is filled with those. So you need to sort of make sure that you're doing something for your nervous system on a daily basis, and you need to prioritize it. What do I mean by that? Maybe a 17th trip to the shops is not needed, right? So you sort of need to weigh out what's more important for, and you need to make it important. You need to start noticing your nervous system. What does it actually need? Does it need stimulation or does it need stillness? Again, in anxiety, you have excess of energy, right? Anxiety is a state of the nervous system where energy is being mobilized for action, right? In depression, it's actually a response in which there's collapse of energy. So there's very, very little energy in your system. Therefore, a person who is anxious is going to need different things to get to the green state as opposed to a person who is depressed. Because a person who is anxious, they would need some stillness, right? Because anxiety is very often about doing things, not very productively, but doing and taking action and just moving, or, right? And there are different kinds of anxiety. When you are depressed, there's very little energy in your system and you require a lot of force. You need to force yourself to do even the simplest things. So if you're one of those people, then the course of action would be to start generating some energy with something you like, with the environment that you like. So you like fishing, go fishing. You like some sort of engagement with the environment that it's on your terms, right? It doesn't matter, it's not about moving your body as such, but when you're really depressed or when you find it very difficult to do certain things, think about engaging yourself in a way that makes you forget the time. That's the best thing to start connecting with yourself. All in all, depression and anxiety are the states of disconnection from yourself. So when it comes to the green state and your version of the green state, think about the ways in which you can connect to that child in you. You can do stuff that you used to like doing in childhood. So it's not about being productive. Very often it's the opposite to that. It's not about making something pretty. No, it's about making things. It's about spending time for the sake of spending time with yourself or with someone, right? It is sometimes about staring at the clouds, right? So engaging with nature, that's always, always works when it comes to the green state. And sometimes things are very simple and sometimes things are more complicated when it comes to the green state. But only in the green state you can learn and laugh, engage, you can know what to say and things like this. But everyone has their own version, right? For some people it's really big, like I'm going to achieve my potential and I'm going to do these big things. But for majority of people it's not. It's just having peace and quiet in your mind, having clarity, not wrestling in your mind, not wrestling with reality, not being hijacked, not being sad, negative, and in despair. That's the green state. So don't try and overwhelm yourself. Oh, I'm going to be unstoppable. I'm going to be powerful. Right, that's not for everybody, right? So, but creativity resides there as well. So maybe you haven't had the time in your life to even think about what you want to do or what you like doing because you haven't had the opportunity. Maybe you grew up in an environment where that was not accessible for you. So, create a time in your life. Sometimes a day is enough, 2 days, 3 days, or half an hour every day, where you can actually think who you would be in the green state, where you weren't stressed, you weren't depressed, and start imagining this state. How would you be feeling? And start and bring some memories from the past. Like it's there. You just have to remove the layers of the stressful, toxic conditioning that you're being exposed to on an everyday basis. Maybe it's less phone. Maybe it's less Netflix. Maybe it's more contacts with real people. Maybe it is a conversation with someone close. Maybe you need to put some kind of a boundary for yourself. Maybe you need to stop hanging around with someone. Maybe you need to start replying to the messages, or you need to write some messages. But it needs to come from you. It's your decision. Take your time, do it slowly, but do it every day. And don't overwhelm yourself. Just think of it as a goal, think of it as a sense of direction, think of it as being spacious and light and whole in terms of calming your nervous system and having in peace and quiet, and maybe for doing nothing. A lot of people are burnt out from doing too many things, from just, piling on things to do constantly and thinking about and analyzing everything and analyzing every single interaction and overthinking and just keeping control over absolutely everything, and then going ballistic when things are not going the way. Sometimes the absence of mental health is due to the fact that we doing things to ourselves, right? And so there's some food for thought for you. Start thinking about your nervous system and its capacity to achieve a state of rest, digest, regenerate when you're safe and social, where you can be yourself, be your authentic self, be the relaxed self, no pressure, no force, being powerful, being okay with where you are, laughing, feeling joy, knowing how to proceed, or having a nap, or having a rest, whatever you decide, but being in a choice state. Because when you're in survival state, you behaving compulsively with your thinking and with your actions. It's a compulsion rather than a choice. So in the green state, there's this space where you can actually decide for yourself and make decisions for yourself as to what you want to do with the rest of your day, the rest of your life, the rest of your month, how you want to proceed with relationships, with friendships, with jobs. So think about the future, think about the potential of this state, and think about what you can do for yourself daily. Make a choice and start cultivating and practicing it. Good luck. Thank you very much. Never give up on yourself.